Hello everybody, how's everybody doing? Let's have a follow-up to the previous clip that I have made mentioning people that I was right. I believe that we were going to bottom here. The chances of going lower from October were very slim, and that we're going to have a nice rebound. We did. I mentioned that in my previous video. And not only that, I was bullish for the remainder of the month, I believe, and we continued to rally till the end of the month. Then somehow, which wasn't too expected, we had a kind of a sharp correction in the middle of this month. And then, of course, just like the previous correction, we did have a sharp rally higher. Much needed rally. So what do I see for the remainder of the month? I certainly believe that, look at the NASDAQ, 4,773. We haven't hit the highs of November yet, unlike the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which crossed 18,000. But unfortunately, I do believe that we are going to, good chance, cross 4,800 pretty soon. But yet again, for the NASDAQ, we are still not very, very close to its all-time high of 5,100 that was set back in March of 2000. So I have a good feeling for next year we're going to hit that. Of course, I'm not going to go further with 2015 because I'm going to really save that for another video. Now, before I go on, I want to tell some of these users that have been spamming and trashing me. They're saying that I'm one of those con artists because I'm making financial related videos about my viewpoints and that I'm causing a lot of trouble. One user tried to lump me into Gregory Mannarino. Please don't push me into these people. I have a very balanced viewpoint. I have a viewpoint where I change my tune. So in a number of years, I can be bullish in the equities. I can be bullish in commodities and bonds. I'm not like a person that has a sales pitch and is promoted by advertisements. And not to mention, I'm also not that type of guy to tell you that I'm someone who's advising you to do something. I'm not advising people to do things, okay? I'm giving you my forecast and what I believe, what I'm planning to do. Just because I'm planning to do something, it doesn't mean that it's beneficial financial advice for any person to take, okay? I'm not licensed. And I do disclose that in a lot of my videos. In fact, I do have a note in every single of my videos. So just because we may be similar in some aspect doesn't mean we're really the same deal. So as we continue, I had a good feeling that we were going to rebound here because on the relative strength indicator, it looks like we were kind of oversold. And then look at this right here in the MACD. We're kind of having a rebound, so that's kind of like a nice bullish sign. So basically, it looks like we are continuing our momentum and the long-term bull market is still intact. That's just the way I see it. And of course, earnings report has been very good. You're looking at a number of other things. Now, of course, one of the reasons they fell, not because it was a healthy correction, but it was also because of the fact that the media mentioned that oil prices were falling. Well, yes, oil prices, and I've mentioned before in my previous clips, it can drag the markets, but the long term, as common sense proves, it's pretty good because consumers will have more money and will boost the earnings of a lot of other companies. And certainly when oil prices are not really rising, that's the time when the stock market is very bullish. It's not just because of the consumer, it's because of the flow of assets. And you can see that from the 1980s and 1990s. Oil prices were really not going anywhere, stock market was soaring. And it seems like the oil bubble has, I guess you can say, has burst. And I mentioned in my previous videos that I am not so bullish on oil. And certainly that's going to deliver a lot of funds away from the oil market and into the stock markets. The same can be mentioned depending on how you look at it with bonds and other commodities. Okay, so I really wanted to take this moment in the remainder of my video to not really talk about the markets, but to really talk about my long-term future, okay? Because In the remaining several years of this decade, I'm going to be largely focused on the stock market. But in my lifetime, I'm going to be focused on my lifelong goal. And that is, of course, to earn enough capital to access resources and hopefully the funds for building a mega project, mega master plan development, an empire like I like to call it, that's going to be planned and built, if you guessed it, all over southern Nevada. And most importantly, I'm scheduled to visit there pretty soon. Today is the 24th. Happy holidays, everybody. I'm scheduled to visit there from the 25th to the 28th. Okay? And by the way, just to show you to a lot of these criticizing people, seriously, my channel is not just focused on the markets. It's focused on a lot of other aspirations that I have, a lot of other viewpoints I see about society. Okay? So, let's kind of recap the project plan as I have mentioned before. Hopefully this thing can load. We apologize for the inconvenience. It's just this, it hasn't been really easy. Okay, so here is southern Nevada, and as you can see here, here's the major city. As you know what it's called. Here are the surrounding areas. This is the Strip. I believe I'm going to be staying at the Luxor. I'm not 100% sure. Luxor, if you don't know, it's that Pyramid Hotel. It's been built in 1993. I'm going to be going with my family, so I didn't get the reservations or any of that stuff. But anyway, here's the point. When I'm there, I'm going to be mainly focused on trying to do some research, probably talk to some people about this plan. What is the plan? It is a master plan development that what I call is a Renaissance-style approach, a unique alternative approach to urban design, as well as trade networks along with education. So, this alternative approach to urban design, first of all, it's not going to be mainly focused on the built areas. It's going to be mainly focused on these valleys, as you can see on my cursor. Here, 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 as well as up north right here. So for an example, let's talk about the first phase. We can start building on this land. So what do? Most of this land in this valley right here can be built, and then we can build all sorts of environments for people, for all sorts of choices, for all sorts of opportunities. You name it, you go down the line. So, there can be a whole lot of other things. There can be dense environments where you can live above a store and you're pretty much close to everything. And by the way, that dense environment will have a major transit urban maglev system that will take you from here all the way to the other developments as well, not to mention the Strip and downtown, because we want to connect commuters and visitors in and out. And then they will also connect to other aspects, like surrounding the urban center can be small towns, mostly single-family homes with yards. And then there's going to be a larger sense of community. And then there will be buildings that will look like single-family homes that can appear as shops, offices, and even flats for people to live in. And there can also be areas that people are isolated. Some in gated neighborhoods, access to golf course, larger lots, and then there will be a section where the not-so-attractive activities will take place. This is where we'll have industry, maybe vertical farming, mechanic shops, you go down the line. So it gives you a flexible option to live and thrive. Okay? And what our goal is to deliver this unique style approach to so many residents and impress millions of visitors all over the world. Because we want to show the world that we're more than just slot machines, poker tables, lights, hotel rooms. After all, this is the spirit of Southern Nevada, is that you go to the middle of the desert and you express your idea, whether it's a food that you can cook, a show that you can perform, a building project that you can get done, and you shine it in the middle of the desert, impressing people all over the world. That is the spirit that I want to continue to grow and aspire to. And the way we're going to do it is we have to spread the word. We have to get messages across. We have to have rallies, parties, flyers. We have to be joyful. We have to be entertaining. We can't be violent. We can't be angry. We have to focus this more on artistry and technology and less significantly on political, economic, and religious ideologies. We want to stay away from those things as much as we can. So stand up with me, spread this word, promote Cyrus planning, and let's build this exciting empire that can give this exciting establishment to an exciting opportunities for decades to come. Alright? Wow, I'm going to possibly be there in about 12 hours. I can't wait to get there and let my mind blossom out with so much imagination. So those of you who seem to believe that there is just simply no growth in that area, let's also take a look at the headlines. And you can see some progress in the economy. So what you'll see here is, this is the business news. And again, like I mentioned before, I don't necessarily believe everything that these media outlets tell me. But on the other hand, some of the stats that they point out, some of the building projects that they report, is still something that you can't take it as a lie. I mean, if they're building something and if these are stats, you most certainly are going to have to believe it. So, as you can see here, there isn't too much business activities going on. But you can see here, the Bureau of Land Management. By the way, the land that I want to build my master plan is owned by the Bureau of Land Management, the federal government agency, is selling land, so there's some progress. You can see here, passenger traffic is at 41 million. Just a number of other things. You can see, I think there was an article I was trying to find. Can't find it right here. So, you see, my plan is going to deliver an alternative approach to education. So, certainly, my plan, I believe, is going to be truly the medicine to cure a lot of the other problems that we're experiencing. I was trying to show you some of the pretty much the new projects that's going to be coming up. And it doesn't look like I can find the page, believe it or not. So let's see if I can. Okay, here it is. So here's what's coming in the year 2015. So here you can see they're renovating the Bally's Hotel. They are building this City of Rock, which to me is not really a big deal, but there's some progress. Expansion in the convention center, the park and the arena, which is going to be between these two hotels, New York, and Monte Carlo. And of course, there is about this whole plan about Resorts World. There's going to be updates about it. Now, they talked about this originally in 2013. By the way, if you don't know about this plan, Resorts World, pretty much it's a returning or the getting back to an older building project that got stalled, which was called the Echelon Place, whatever you want to call it. And that got stalled in 2008 because of the economy. And it's been still sitting there, believe it or not. So they want to resume that project, and they want to build this Asian-themed resort, which, in my opinion, I like Echelon a lot better. Echelon, I believe that's what it's called. So they say it's 2016, 2017. So at least there's some activity that's going on. There's some kind of recovery. Are we going to get the boom years anytime soon? I'm not really sure about that. Certainly home prices looks like they're slowing down and home sales are falling. I don't think the previous 2-decade economy is going to really come back anytime soon. And even if we do boom, I believe the boom years of that area is certainly going to be a lot different. So, not to mention, you also have another pile of land, which was the site of the Frontier Hotel and Casino, and they also mentioned that an Australian billionaire wants to purchase that land and build another huge mega resort over there. So we're going to see a lot of these activities coming pretty soon. So anyway, I'm going to be going there. I'm going to be checking these areas out, and as you can see here, I'm thinking about possibly finding out what's the best clothes I can get, because you can see here the weather isn't, well, it's not terrible, but it isn't all that great. You can see here you'll have temperatures pretty much into the low 40s. I don't even believe we're going to hit 50 when I get there, but it's going to be in the low 50s if possible, but the days we're going to be in the 40s, and then of course once we get into the nighttime we're going to dip down into the 30s. But even worse, because the dry air and the wind will bring the real feel, because this is, again, what you really have to understand. This is what most of the people in the country know, that it can be misleading because the wind chill makes it feel a lot colder. So it's going to be outside, it's going to be like 31. It can actually feel like it's 23, 24. So I better bundle up. Believe it or not, when I'm going there, it's going to be the first time where I'm actually going to be wearing a second layer of clothing because I'm cold. And the last time I actually wore a second layer because I was cold was actually there. So really in Southern California, from what I know, I don't think I've ever wore a second layer of clothing because I was cold, because in Southern California, Orange County, it really doesn't get cold there. It gets cool, but it doesn't get cold. So for me, we can have temperatures in the 40s and I'll still wear a thick one layer. That's it. Of course, this is one of the reasons why a lot of people don't move out of Southern California and they pay higher prices for everything, because they can deal with other climates, but I can't. So again, wish me a good time, and we'll see what these numbers are going to bring.